Good morning, pregame crew. How are y'all doing? It's Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, 8:20 a.m. Eastern, 6:20 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm Charkow Lori, and you are at the pregame show. Got a little bounce going on overnight. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty details in about 10 minutes when this says 6:30 down here in the far right corner. That's where I'll get started with indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day. Between now and then, I'm going to say hello to my friends, do an audio-visual check. Hopefully that works before I say my hello to my friends, and do a couple chart requests. How are you? Hey, Night Truck, Andre, Greg, Mr. SB Local, Alnick, Bennett, Buenos Dias, Jason, Ram. Bennett, how many languages do you speak? I'm thinking 3: English, Spanish, and Chinese. I know it's one of the Asian languages. Good morning, Jason. Hey, Ram. Carlos, Andre, the other Jason. Hey, Charles, Paul, Adam. Thanks, Night Truck. Hey, Whitney. Whitney, how's your trading going? I know you mentioned last week that you were doing well. I hope it's still going well. Hey, Adam. Eli, Abram, Chris, Matthew, good morning. If you could tell me where you're from, I'd love to know where y'all are tuning in from. I'm tuning in from the Pacific Northwest of Idaho. Even though I sound like I'm from Louisiana, I am originally. I am from the South, but I currently live in the Pacific Northwest. It's very beautiful. It's 51 degrees this morning. You can see down here. Very cool morning. It's feeling wonderful. A little Portuguese. All right. Very cool, Bennett. You're a cool dude. Netherlands. Italy, intuitive guy, you and Carlos need to hook up. Have a cup of coffee. Vienna. Oh, I want to go. Indonesia, England, Serbia. Wow, New York, Louisville. Hi, Julius. Good morning. Night Truck, I don't know that I knew you were in Ohio. Carlos, do you know that we have a couple members that currently live in Argentina? At least 2 that I know of. And one of them, both of them moved from Canada to Argentina. Very interesting. Central Coast, Mr. SB, will you have a lot of lettuce in the Salinas area? All right, if you have any chart requests, put them in the chat now. And I have enjoyed saying hello to everyone, but let's just dive into some charts. Your most precious asset you have is time, and it equals the playing field. We all have the same amount of time in the day, and how we spend that time and that precious assets, very important. So it's important to me that I don't waste your time. I do want to get to know y'all. I do want to say hi, and I love to have fun. The most important thing that I can do is help you with charts. That's why I'm here. So just know that I am cognizant of that, and it's my goal not to get too sidetracked, even though I do suffer from that human condition. Link. Okay, well, I think I missed one. GS for Tammy. Yeah, GS is weird, Tammy. They had bad news this morning. What I perceive to be bad news, they closed down. Y'all, I'm sorry. This is our chat room, and I'm always working in the news channel. You can see that I got started, well, in the news channel at 4:13 this morning. But Goldman Sachs closed down their private equity right here. Did you see that, Tammy? Goldman Sachs has closed a $9.7 billion private equity fund, its largest since 2007, that seeks to invest in enterprise value, the bank said on Tuesday. So it closed a large portion of its equity fund. To me, that's bearish news, but it is gapping up, not gapping up, it's not gapping over yesterday's high, but it's definitely something you may want to make note of. And the other thing that I'm looking at is XLF has this double bottom on the monthly with 30.37. Yesterday we hit 30.34. That is still technically a double bottom here at the monthly 50 MA. So I'm looking for an XLF bounce today based on this double bottom. But if I'm looking for a horse to ride, it wouldn't be GS because of this news event that I'm not sure how it's being interpreted. And we have hourly EMAs overhead. But our Queen of the Mountain trade is a bank name. I'll tell you that. And I'm pretty excited about it. And there is a poker tell on my screen right now. If you want to know what my Queen of the Mountain is, you can probably see it on my screen. Okay, let me go back up. Cool. Okay. US 30 Okay, let's look at it. We have a 4-hour inside bar. Is it overnight? Obviously, yes. I'm not very familiar with this ticker. The Dow Jones Industrial Currency Index. That's fascinating. Looks like we have a potential bear volume climax here on the daily. We opened up inside yesterday's range, holding that low, so that low becomes really important. We have an hourly uptrend. But note that these hourly uptrends are not getting a lot of follow through. Man, this looks like the Dow. Yeah, it is the Dow, are very similar anyway. So just be careful. When we see higher highs without a lot of follow through, we zoom out and look for bear flags or potential bear flags on higher time frames. Okay, XRP. I'll get started officially in 4 minutes. I'm going to do Binance, if that's all right, Adam. Potential daily bull flag. Now, on a bull flag, we don't want to see this. This is not the candle you're going to take home to mom. This is ugly. This has an upper wick of profit taking. So even though it fits most of the criteria for a bull flag, you don't want to see these upper wicks. That's one tick that's not in favor of the bull flag. We are holding these short-term EMAs, check. We are holding more than 1/3 of the pull, check. We have declining bear volume on this consolidation, check. So we have a lot of check marks coming into this potential daily bull flag, but the only hiccup is that upper wick on that candle. And this hourly, again, we're getting higher highs without a lot of follow through. You see that? That's got to be cautious of that. Probably is tightened up on the 6-hour potential bear flag. Nope, 8-hour. Not ideal. So we're going to scratch that bear flag comment. 4643 and 4576 are your key supports and resistance. 4882. You made it here, finally. Yep, winner, winner, chicken dinner, Casey. Okay, link. Well, that's some nice bull volume. Yeah, this just gives me bear flag vibes. You look at the shorter term time frame, it looks beautiful. But we have to always look at the largest picture that we can to see what the more likely scenarios is, or what the likely scenarios are. And in this case, potential monthly bear flag. And why was I looking for that? When you go look at that daily, you see these higher highs without follow through. We just keep doing this little scallop pattern, getting these higher highs without follow through, and it just makes me very distrusting of the bulls. Is this potential very distrusting of these bulls? So we're getting this higher high without a lot of follow through. We're over that 830, but again, hourly EMAs are below us. So if you're in a bull trade and you bought this breakout, good on you. And you could say, I'll stay in long as the hourly candle bodies close above the 8 EMA. So we say candle closes, we mean the body. We want the body of the candle. If it's a little wick below and it gets bought up quickly, and the candle, see these these 4 candles are great examples of the body still remaining above the EMA. And of course we have 31 minutes in this inside bar candle for it to close above the 8 EMA. So I would stay in long. If you're looking at top fish, I think it totally makes sense. And I would top fish against 840. I'd give it like 0.0009 wiggle room. All right. France. Amazing. I will be going over Dixie. Yep, Jay Powell's talking today. Okay, CS, and it's 8:30, so I need to get started. CS is not the same thing as XLF. It has a whole nother litany of problems. Thank God they ain't all mine. I got enough on my plate. But monthly is oversold, but they had bad news last week. So I don't know what Kool-Aid you're drinking, but it may be spiked. Black dirt breakdown, meaning there are no pivot lows below us or prior price action, we're just getting, it's really dropping hard. The quarterly is almost oversold. That doesn't mean it's not, it will most likely get at least a 10 to 15% bounce. We see it all the time on these black dirt breakdowns that they just, but where does she stop? We don't know, like when's the low? So you have to have some criteria for it to earn your money. An hourly trend change, a 4-hour trend change in order to bottom fish this counter trend trade. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Good morning. Welcome to the pregame show. This is who I am. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter at ChartGalLori. You want to check us out, chartguys.com. We have a community of over 1,000 of my closest friends, and we share a lot of information and setups, lots and lots. Just this morning, Dan is just going over, this is a typical morning. We have a chart guy or gal gives a typical rundown of the overnight action. What names are they watching in particular? I post pre-market high volume scans around 5:30 my time, and you can see this morning at the time I posted it, Tesla, NEO, XBEV, and I use this data to sometimes find our Queen of the Mountain trades. I post pre-market volatility scans, names that are gapping up extremely higher, 100%, 150%, and to the downside. We have a commodities channel, crypto alts, crypto, marijuana, uranium. Some of these channels are my private channels, but short setups, we just have a whole lot of fun. And what I do here every morning is I go over indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day. I have notes that are on another screen I use to keep me on the straight and narrow. And then I copy and paste those for TCG members when I'm done. So if you're interested in my chart setup, you can click on the link below in the video description to receive a PDF explanation of what all these bright colors mean. I love my chart saturation. I look at other people's white charts or light gray charts and my eyes just like start tizzing out. I don't know how y'all do it. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at in ES, and you're probably like, no shoot, Sherlock. But I am looking for a 2-hour bullish reversal pattern. We have a diamond bullish reversal candle forming. Those are found at the bottom of downtrends, and it starts to look like a megaphone, where you get a higher high with no follow through. Come on. A higher high with no follow through, a lower low with no follow through. And you EQ out on this side till you can get your bearings. And it happens to the upside as well. And those are bearish diamond reversal patterns when they form at the top of a trend. This is forming at the bottom of a trend. Do I think this is the great white hope source or great white horse? That's what I'm trying to say. My first husband, they actually called him the great white hope. He was the only white guy on a basketball squad, and they just called him the Great White Hope, and he was not a lot of hope for that team. Let me tell you, poor Dwayne. He was 6'8", but he provided no hope for that team. But anyway, Great White Horse, no. This, to me, is just bears selling. The volume would have to be significantly higher and sustained buying in order for us to get some major trend change going. So we always are differentiating between an actual short squeeze where bears are covering, or excuse me, short squeeze where bears are just covering and bulls are buying, or bears just covering and is kind of just dwindling out. They're covering in a controlled way. We have no squeeze action going on, in my opinion, yet. It could happen. So now I back off that reverse back burner trade idea. Yesterday, that should have worked for you like a charm. The only one that didn't work for me was Tesla, but it ended up working at the end of the day, but I entered a little too soon and I took a loss on that. But great white nope. Okay, Calvin, you win the day. You absolutely win the day. That was pretty good. So on ES, we're above the hourly EMAs. We're making some headway, but I was saying I'm backing off the reverse back burner trade ideas on the 5 and 15 minute, and we may even look for a potential 30 minute, and the safer bull is waiting for an hourly overbought to look for that daily lower high. Do you see that? So that daily 8 EMA is up at 378450 right here. My little handy dandy arrow. I need to turn up the speed on my mouse. 378450. Do you see that? That is the 8 EMA right here. Right here. So that's what I'm looking for a potential target for a bear flag top fish. And I would love for that to happen with hourly overbought. So let's go set that alert. And I always front run it. I want to know right before it hits 70 so I can set up my order and check the conditions and see if this is a trade I'm still interested in, or did we have news come in, or did the whole framework change. So I'm looking for first hourly overbought for a top fish on ES. Overall, I'm looking bullish this morning and bearish in the afternoon. That's just my general bias. That's an opinion. That's a bias. I don't trade those two opinions or bias. I trade the price action, but it helps just keep me in the right framework. I don't want to start shorting right out the gate this morning and get ran over by bulls who were unable to buy overnight. So on ES, your key resistance 37.30, your key support is 3657. So this is still a double bottom, even though it looks pretty ugly. We broke last week's low by $2.75. We broke the low of last week. Why didn't we get follow through on ES and go take out that June low? Everyone here that's been here for more than a few weeks should know the answer. NASDAQ didn't take out last week's low. Therefore, ES bears did not get follow through on that bear break yesterday because NASDAQ said a big nope, not going to happen because I'm going to hold my support. And that immediately brought the indices right back up. So you have your key levels now on ES. Let me look at my notes and make sure. I'm going to read my notes on ES. Weekly double bottom, daily 8 EMA is our target. And prices over the hourly 50 EMA. I think I said all those things. So on NASDAQ, we have our second daily inside bar forming. It's not confirmed, but we do have one daily inside bar confirmed. If we break bull out of this daily inside bar, what's still the more likely scenario? A daily lower high. And so my target on NASDAQ is 11,652. And when you're interested in my resistances, or if you're interested in my supports, resistances, these light gray numbers over here on this far right axis, that is my resistances and support. And sometimes they get a little outdated because I did them 3 hours ago. So those are your updated supports and resistances. 11,537 is the key resistance going forward today. RTY? Miguel. I think it's a thing now, though. He may even get his own merch. Who knows? All right, so RTY, 4-hour lower high anticipated. And I should mention that as well. We are bouncing really nicely. This was still a pretty big pullback yesterday. So a 4-hour lower high is still on the table for all Fab 4 indices. RTY, we're a little bit farther from that 1710.9, and support 1656. YM. I just said farther. I taught business English right when I was right out of college, and I had to study one chapter ahead of the students. It was in a community college setting. I had to study the night before the chapter ahead so I could teach it. It's like, why is this country girl teaching any type of English? What's the difference between farther and further? Farther, the A is distance. So just so you know, but I had to study the night before. Same thing with Lotus and DBase and WordPerfect. I had to study the night before and teach them the next day. Whoa, that community college was hiring nothing but incompetence. All right, YM resistance, 29727, 29736. This is a double top, and it's closer to breaking resistance within $9 than the other 3 major indices. But VIX is the only one that's taken out that June low. So don't let that small relative strength fool you. We're sitting on the monthly 50 MA. I'm looking for this to provide some type of support, and we're battling here at the weekly 200 MA. Right here, we're battling. That's at 29710. The market bulls want to see YM climb up over that weekly 200 MA. VIX was in an hourly EQ earlier, still in it. This could be key for the day. Now, if we break bear with very little follow through, we zoom out and look for a potential bull flag on a higher time frame. And in this case, 12-hour. Don't like that upper wick right there. That kind of breaks one of the criteria for a bull flag, but all other criteria are being met. So we've got a perfectly clear hourly EQ on, hourly has been a word that just continues to plague me. Hourly EQ on VIX, support 30.49, 29.83. Resistance is now, got a new little resistance in here. 3161 is a little double top. So 3161, 3270. How this resolves could be really important for the day. And y'all look at this. It is still holding that 50 RSI. That is market bears still in control, and VIX bulls have not rolled over. So as long as it's holding this hourly 50 RSI, this could resolve to the upside and be a headwind for equities. I didn't start out with the dollar, did I? Dollar, making the market bulls holla. So we have resistance at 114.277, 114.527. We have support at 113.33 and 113. We have a 4-hour EQ. Looks fine, but it's no big win for bears. They haven't done anything. The 4-hour can't even lose the darn 8 EMA. That's a quick EMA. I use a quick one. That's only 8 time periods, and it can't even lose that one. Dollar bulls are still in charge. Do the probabilities favor them taking a break sooner than later? Sure. But do you want to get caught up in this railroad train and it run you right over? This ain't a railroad train. This is that bullet train in Japan. So just be careful. 4-hour EQ. Healthy consolidation is expected on the dollar, but bulls are in charge. And I think, let's see. As Dan pointed out, we were watching the 6-month EQ. We were watching it since 2017. Over 5 years, this has been developing. So we say when you have a pattern or an EQ, in this case, pennant, EQ, they both apply, and it has been forming for 5 years, you're typically going to get more than one candle of follow through. So I'm not expecting the dollar to crash back through these lows anytime soon. So just remember where the dollar bulls came from, this very tight pennant that formed for years. So when they get bull break, you're typically going to have some great follow through with that. US 10-year. You can see it from Mars. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Okay. US 10-year is finally taking a break. This is very good news for the market. And odds favor a 4-hour lower high on the next bounce. So we really pushed up overnight. We hit 3931. But this thing can't even lose the 8 EMA either. So 4-hour lower high is anticipated on the next bounce. But I wouldn't rule out a higher high with this type of strength and still holding this 8 EMA. Let's look at commodities. 13 minutes on indices. That's either really inefficient use of time or I was very thorough or both. Okay, gold. Gold 4-hour lower high expected compared to 1657. You have support at 1627. These gold bulls are getting a little relief bounce on dollar taking a breather. If dollar's taking a breather versus consolidating, which I'm not using that word yet. I mean, it's healthy right now. I just can't get on the gold bull train until the dollar has meaningful consolidation, losing trends. We do have enough room for a 4-hour higher low compared to 1627, but I am no over-eager bull on gold. Oil. Let's back up. We're looking for the monthly higher low. We hit daily oversold yesterday. We actually hit it overnight, which was frustrating. And now we're getting a little bounce going. 4-hour 8 EMA still dominating price. We don't necessarily have enough room for a 4-hour higher low compared to 76.25, but it does represent a lower risk bottom fish looking for that monthly higher low on the 4-hour time frame. Y'all see how cool that is? You just have those overarching time frames and you form a thesis. Odds favor, or probability statement, odds favor a monthly higher low on oil. Now, how do we get there? Let's watch out for first daily oversold. Let's wait for 4-hour to get oversold, hourly to get oversold. And we did all of that overnight. We did it, or yesterday afternoon. And now we're bouncing. So now in the next pullback, we wait for that pullback to get a higher reward, lower risk entry against a backstop. If you think about 80.31 being a backstop if you're shorting and 76.25 being a backstop, just right there behind you, protecting you. You want to be as close to that as possible for your stop loss. Okay, nat gas, we're going to look at specifically NGX. NG continuous contract has just lost all relativity for me. Got some contango, backwardation, whatever. With the rollover and contracts, they're not quite matching up yet. So that would be contango. I have to think about that stuff. That really messes with my brain. Okay, same concept. Monthly. What's the thesis? We're looking for a monthly high or low. And yesterday, I told y'all about this trade setup I was in. I got stopped out, slightly green, and I called it all the trades out in the commodities channel on TCG commodities chat room. So I got stopped out down here at 775. It broke through and zoomed higher. We know nat gas is infamous for that. I could have gone to a shorter time frame and picked another entry looking for this bounce. If you took that and you were more aggressive than me, you got about an 8% bounce from, well, actually it's more than that. 8.19% bounce from the low of yesterday. And what we were watching was this 4-hour bull divergence. Y'all remember that? Lower lows. And then we were making higher lows on RSI and lower lows on price. So that worked. We're slamming into the 4-hour 21 EMA, and now we have enough room for a higher low compared to 6692. If you're trading oil, you have API estimates after hours today. Don't forget about that at 4:30 Eastern. Adrian, you are a special human. Okay, so Apple. Who got this? Did you get this trade yesterday? This is the box from yesterday. It was a beautiful trade. We were looking for this daily double bottom to hold. And as long as Apple no rolly, market no rolly. Okay, market is going to have a hard time rolling over unless Apple rolls over and loses this daily double bottom. It's having relative strength in the morning, up almost 2%. I would look for a pullback buy, positioning for an hourly higher low on Apple. Amazon. So Amazon, we're through this resistance. I just want to be cautious, and this is on a lot of charts. I saw this. I'm going to go faster. Dan will be live in 12 minutes. This could be a potential rising wedge. We have to be careful on these tiny higher highs if they don't get a lot of follow through. NVIDIA, I don't have an edge for you. NVIDIA hourly 50 MAs overhead. Let's try to get through it now. Slight problem, should get going if market bounce continues. No edge for me. Tesla, same thing. No edge for me. Great Wall of China was here. Looks like they're trying to move it right now. We got over yesterday's high. They had some great delivery numbers, and they're announcing their official delivery numbers Friday, and someone's hinting that's good. I forget which news source. And then China said that their factories are causing some delays. So they had good news, bad news. I don't have an edge for you here. I just wouldn't fight Tesla to the bulls. I wouldn't fight them. If you want to do a bottom fish against 27960, that makes sense. Coin, well, shoot. Coin is catching up with Mara and Riot because the Bitcoin had a great night overnight. A really good night. My goodness, it's still going. So Bitcoin's looking great. Did I skip over Bitcoin? I think I did. Well, that's not good. So Bitcoin, how could I skip over this? If this is our canary, which we talked about this yesterday, that Bitcoin was holding up better than most. If that's our canary, that's a good sign for the indices, and it typically favors NASDAQ a little bit more, the technology names. So we are now through that resistance. Your next resistance is up at 20545. 20545 from the 4-hour chart. 4-hour RSI is overbought. Bears are ready to lick. They're licking their chops, but the bulls are not slowing. They're just not slowing right now. Support 20090, 19960. That's from the 30-minute. I don't normally use that time frame. Bull break on Ethereum. Hourly bull flag confirmed. Your next daily resistance, 1412, 1412, 1412. An aggressive bear is watching for a 2 to 5 minute trend change to the downside in this $1,400 area using 1412 or right above it as your stop. All right, so in light of that, I was looking for a potential laggard play. Coin was down the most. Well, it was green, but still not as jolly as MARA and Riot. So I would still look for potential pullback buy on coin, but that's not my jam. If coin's your jam, it may work for you. JPM's my jam. Look at what JPM did for us yesterday. 106.06. Oh, 106.06. Double bottom to the penny. I'm telling y'all, JPM trades so technically clean. Now, of course, I'm going to say that and it'll stop behaving in this way, but you start to get to know the personality of a stock and it makes it a little bit easier to trade. JPM doesn't have a history of breaking support, breaking resistance, and then reversing. It tends to be very clean. So we still have 4-hour EMAs overhead. It's fighting here at the hourly EMA, but when I look at XLF, it has that double bottom at 30.34, 30.37. This JPM has this double bottom. Give me. So I'm looking for a buy on JPM against 106 for a potential swing, a multi-day swing, not multi-week, just multi-day. I'm just looking. And this is totally counter trend, but I have my backstop right behind me. JPM, Queen of the Mountain. Snow had a coverage initiation with price target $240. I wish this daily gap would have gotten filled. I'd feel better about this, but I'm still looking bullish on the day. So we have this gap below to be aware of at 16198. Dang it, it's already moving up. I like a pullback buy of Snow against yesterday's low. If yesterday's low breaks, I would back away and let that gap fill before I mess with it again. But Snow likes to get squeezy. I like Snow to the long side as a potential Queen of the Mountain trade, but only after a pullback. The rest of these names are just my normal names that I watch. Paul, I do that around 5:30 every morning. Well, so that would be 7:30 Eastern. PM high volume of volatility scans, and then I post the volume and the volatility ones. And if you want to say, okay, I can't find that, there's too many people talking in general chat, you can just put it in the search and it'll show you all of my prior pre-market high volume. Well, maybe not all of mine, but you can just constrain on Chart Gallery. So let's see. Let me delete this. All right, you're welcome. Queen of the Mountain trade, Paul, is just a trade setup that I have a higher conviction on versus others. You know that kids game, King of the Mountain. Someone in here dubbed it Queen of the Mountain, but I call it King of the Mountain. It's basically the strongest person ends up on the top of the heap. So these are the setups that have ended up on the top of the heap for me after I've scanned approximately 100 charts plus this morning. I like these setups the most. Oh, copper for Bennett, and then we'll wrap it up. Daily inside bar. Monthly, I like that we're sitting on the 50 MA just like gold is. I just don't have a lot of hope in the copper bulls as long as the dollar looks the way it is. A higher low is anticipated compared to 3274, that if it pulls back, that could be a decent bottom fish setup, but you got your work cut out for you. Totally. You see how this choppy action, you can tell we're in a daily, we're inside yesterday's range just with this choppy action on the hourly, kind of all over the place a bit. So just be careful. 4-hour higher low is what I would be if I'm bottom fishing, that's what I'd be looking for. And I wouldn't be top fishing copper. It's pretty beat up unless it's hitting overbought conditions on 1530 or hourly. In this case, hourly overbought could be a decent short setup. All right, that's it for me. Oh, shoot. Delta, you just snuck that in and I can't look away. Microsoft, whoa. That's beautiful. Look at this. I don't have to have this squeeze indicator to show me. See that? I don't have to have that to see this tightening range. It's coiling. I like it. Over 241.50, it could really get going. If it were to pull back today, well, shoot. Now I'm going to have to add Microsoft up here. I like it. I like it to the long side. All right. Thanks for joining me. Y'all hit that like button. Go give me a follow on Twitter at ChartGalLori. Go check us out at chartguys.com. TCG members, I'll copy these notes and I'll have them over to you aujourd'hui. Use stop losses.